Blog Talk Radio.
Greetings and salutations, hempsters. This is your hempreneurial host, Tyler Hemp with HempAware Radio, here to empower your hemposphere and focused on what's most important to you and your desires, your dreams, your visions, your goals. It's January 25th, 2017, as we're recording this show live. You may be listening to a recorded version of the show, and if you are, thanks so much for your attention and for tuning in. Your time is most valuable. It's possibly the most valuable resource on earth, and I sincerely appreciate you investing it in raising your awareness about hemp, about the uses of hemp, the history of hemp. And this show is dedicated to creating a paradigm shift in consciousness around the world. We're here to inspire, educate, motivate, and uplift you to utilize industrial hemp for your food, your shelter, your clothing, energy applications, healing applications, and thousands of other products that hemp can produce. And if our basic needs are met with this one plant, our food, our shelter, and our clothing, just imagine the amazing things that we can do with our lives and with our energy. So to listen to any of the past hemp episodes, including today's show, visit the iTunes podcast library and just search the word HempAware, all one word, or you can tune in at hempaware.com/radio. Before I introduce our very special guest today, if you have any ideas about who you'd like to have me bring on the show or any topics that you'd like me to cover on HempAware Radio, you can just send me an email at support@hempaware.com, and I'll be happy to consider your ideas or your topics. It's most important that we focus on what you guys are interested in most. And now I'd like to introduce you to someone who has been behind the scenes in the hemp industry. He's a humble man. He stays out of the limelight. He definitely has his opinions, which are very well educated and based on experience. He's known as the Hemp Mayor, and he was mentored by Jack Herer, and he's here today to share some insightful knowledge and wisdom about the hemp industry. And I'm sure you'll be stoked to learn about Adam Gower and hopefully implement some of the things that we share with you today. So thanks so much for being on today's show, Adam. I appreciate your presence.
Greetings. Thank you.
Right on. So share with us a little bit about your background and kind of your expertise, what led you up to the hemp industry and how you were originally introduced to hemp.
Well, as I was finishing out high school in Florida in the early 90s, I began working in sustainable commerce. I saw that recycling and waste materials and the things that we grew and did in America were enough for the building blocks of our sustainable future. And I learned about hemp through Jack's book and reaching out to Jack and becoming good friends with him and learning a lot from him and others who were paradigm during that time. And I was looking for ways to bring industrial hemp viably into the productions of the United States, which are still well entrenched today.
Right on. So you got mentored by Jack and you started doing research, and I know you were one of the original hempsters back. I mean, you've been doing this since 1992. That's a long time. So tell us a little bit about some of the original products that you were involved with and that you helped bring to the market.
I always had my eye on the industrial volume products. So early on, we were spearheading hemp plastics and the various forms of the construction uses of hemp. But on the consumer side, I believe we were part of developing the first hemp skateboard, some of the first industrial oils that could be used in paints and varnishes and things like that. There were and are so many industries that can input hemp. We were doing it all back then. The MDF boards, the crates, and the problem I found in general is that Americans haven't been purchasing the sustainable products to show the viability for more production.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're definitely going to get into that. Today's show is titled Creating a Bridge to the Hemp Industry with Adam Gower, obviously. And so we're going to talk about something really intriguing, and hopefully it's a way that we can show the viability and the feasibility of a plant that, you know, can be a bridge over to the hemp industry. But before we get into that, I want to get a little bit more on the intimate side and talk more about your mission, your purpose, and, you know, why you feel hemp is going to allow you to fulfill your mission and purpose in life.
Well, when I first learned of the true value and abilities of hemp, I sought to just simply bring barrels of viable hemp seed to places where we could grow it around the world, let's just say Africa, and bring the seed to the people, show them how to grow it, and then show them how to turn it into products for life. And through realizing all that information, I realized how we could apply these various techniques anywhere around the world. And so my original mission was, like most, to save the planet and bring health and wealth to the people. Mm-hmm. And it still is. Yeah, I truly believe that through community and cohesive conversation, we can glean or realize a better path forward, and still we can reach that utopia that most think about in a very quick time.
Mm-hmm. And you feel that hemp is that vehicle to create that health and that wealth for the people in combination with conscious communication and developing products for life. I love that.
I do. Hemp itself is so versatile and has such value to it that it fits in with the other solutions that we'll have developed, but hemp can and is a good base for that healing mechanism.
Mhm. Mhm. And you pretty much, I think, touched upon my next question in saying, you know, that you're really here because you believe that hemp can save the planet, and by saving the planet, ultimately what that means, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it means saving the planet from humans, destroying it. That because we're consuming products and oil-based products that are so toxic to our environment, destroying our trees, our old-growth trees to produce paper, producing toxic pesticide-rich cotton plants that, just destroying our waterways and destroying our health and well-being, on a physical level with our bodies, with it touching our bodies. So I believe that hemp is that vehicle because it basically replaces all of those things on a massive level. And on that same kind of topic, what are some of your foundational principles that you live by, or that you run in your operating system, kind of on a daily basis? What are some of your life principles that you live by, whether it's with hemp or not?
Well, I truly believe that everyone is so very capable and valuable, and the way that I try to treat people is that they can do whatever it is they say they want to do. Equality, true equality where everyone takes part and also reaps the benefits. Right on.
So you really hold people to the expectations of they can do what they. In other words, if someone has an idea, hey, I want to build the largest hemp building in the world, you're like, you know what, it's totally possible, and I'm going to support you, and you give them that
Absolutely.
Equal opportunity to pursue that dream.
Absolutely. Rather than building new systems, we take hemp and apply it to all and any systems that already exist. It fits right on in.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. No, I totally agree. So what are some of your favorite products? I know we discussed, you were involved with some oil-based products for paints and varnishes back in the day. You helped create one of the original hemp skateboards. What's some of, modern-day hemp products that you see on the market today that you're most excited about?
Well, it's always been the same for me. The seed, whether it's hulled or toasted with the hull on it, perfect for the human body. And then I love hemp socks. As far as textiles, I love them all, but hemp socks are really special to me for numerous reasons. And then I love hempcrete for a filled wall or a shuttered style construction. These three elements really encompass the whole of the plant and are truly building blocks for a sustainable future. But on the textile side, I love the hemp baggage and the hemp bags. These products I've had 10 years or more, and they're still just making the grade.
Yeah, one of the original sayings, I think, for hemp products was, they don't wear out, they wear in. They just keep wearing in.
Absolutely. The textiles just get better and better.
Yeah. Unless, and I have seen some products on the market, like if they're blended with other natural fibers that are not hemp-based, they do tend to seem more likely to, getting holes or just wearing out a little bit quicker if it's blended with, like, cotton, for example. But there, it's a benefit for, a drawback. You get the softness and the comfortability of the cotton. But, I too am, like, totally fanatical about bags. I love being organized and putting things in their place. I can't even count how many hemp bags I have, and I love every single one of them. I totally agree. Yeah. So you have discovered something, and this is kind of going to be the major portion of our talk today, which is this bridge to the hemp industry. You're among the opinion that hemp, because it's so not readily available to the public on a massive scale or major corporations, that we really don't have the numbers, we don't have the data, we don't have enough to really show the viability of what hemp can really do. I mean, obviously it's been grown for thousands of years, but only in the last maybe a couple decades, or even since the early 1900s, have records been shown of crop yieldage and seed yieldage, fiber yieldage of particular crops. But you're pointing at something that's totally legal. It's very similar in cellulose content and as far as look to hemp, and you're saying that this could potentially be an amazingly viable crop that we could start studying to show and kind of bridge people over to hemp, and that plant is Canaf, correct?
Yes. The Canaf plant, technical term is Hibiscus cannabinus. It's related to okra and cotton, whereas hemp is in the hop family. But taking aside edible seed products and CBDs from hemp, on the biomass and industrial applications of hemp, I call Canaf same for everything that America produces in volume. And that's not textiles, but we don't really do a lot with textiles in the U.S. anymore, and we should very much so support the importation of hemp textiles. But as far as the plastics, the building products, car bodies, insulation, growing mats, all these various industrial-style products that people are promoting industrial hemp for, we could go ahead and grow as much of these products out of Canaf in the United States as we want to, because it's legal. There's no marijuana connotations associated with it whatsoever, and that America and the world use Canaf. Not only have we studied it for displacing oil and synthetic fibers, but the world uses Canaf. It has stable infrastructure, and it's had billions and billions of dollars dumped into the research and development of it. And the same practices hold true with Canaf as industrial hemp when you're looking at plant density, harvesting, processing, and product application.
Interesting. So how does it grow? Like, is it a very similar life cycle, growing cycle as hemp? And is it grow as tall as hemp? Like, I think I've seen canaf. Do the leaves actually kind of look like cannabis, don't they?
There are two varieties of leaf patterns. One resembles the cannabis. If you look at it closely, it does look different. But the other one has a leaf that more so just looks like a maple leaf or okra or cotton. No serrated edges.
Right.
And yes, canaf, when I say same, it also, you're looking at 70 to 100 days in the ground for a fiber crop. You're looking at the same water needs or less. And many people who know canaf well will step out and say that canaf sequesters more carbon monoxide than hemp, requires less water to grow than hemp. But with hemp and canaf, what really becomes powerful is not just how little water it takes or pesticides it takes to grow, but when you start to displace other raw materials used in production, you're furthermore eliminating the use of water for that needs processed to be pure, more other fuels and different things in the chain. So that's where these biomass plants really become powerful, not just in their growth, but in the application.
Right. So how much does, if a farmer wanted to start investing in canaf who is very interested in hemp and, growing industrial hemp, but they have the fear of the federal government coming in and shutting them down, and they're like, wow, this seems like a really great segue or, a bridge. I'll start growing canaf, get my fields ready and, get familiar with this fiber crop, and then eventually switch over once the federal government catches up with the rest of the world. What would they have to invest? Like, what would be an initial kind of investment to start growing canaf?
Well, absolutely. And for today as well, we have the fees. So if someone were jumping out there even at 100-acre level, let alone 3,000, but at 100 acres, your fee structure would be too cumbersome to grow industrial hemp for product application. So, but whereas on the legal side of canaf, it's freely flowing around the world. You can actually buy seed in bulk as low as under $3 a pound. And the high for folks who want to sell you seed and work with you on programs can be $8 a pound. And these have, and so, with the farmer, he can get insurance for his crops. There are remediation elements that can be used on the crop. So with one growing hemp, they're just not out there growing where they can't apply anything because of the USDA standards or anything. But with hemp and canaf, we still have the problem of processing. Sure, a farmer can jump out there and economically grow this crop, but we've got to have the processing. Outlet? Right. Now, the processing is the glitch. You're talking about millions of dollars. Yeah. Which is also not hard to do with canaf because you can build the business proposals, pitch the solution to companies who will grow the vertical supply chain and things like that. So, a farmer somewhere in a corn state where they have plastics industry, MDF board manufacturers, even biofuels or biomass energy plants, they could actually jump out there and we can see 10,000 acres of canaf in a state this coming April.
Right, because there is the machinery to do those types of applications currently.
And so the costs that people are drawing up for what it would take to grow hemp in these volume means apply to canaf. It's just less. For, getting the seed, there's no permits, the theory I spoke about, less water, the quick growth rate, and all these things.
So is it physically, I know go ahead.
Well, so in the end of it, a farmer can step out on his own and grow this stuff and also bring in some simple processing machinery. And it really helps if there's production in the area. And these are all things that I love to work with people on to determine the feasibility and viability of their desires and intentions.
Exactly. So you had mentioned the physical characteristics of kind of the leaf shape and the fact that it's like almost similar. It's very similar to hemp in the cellulose content. I think in upwards of 70% plus cellulose. So for, as you said, the plastic applications or composite applications, medium density fiberboard or biomass. So does it physically grow like hemp as far as the stalks? Are they growing really close together and like anywhere from an inch to 2-3 inches in diameter? Is that, and it grows as tall as hemp? Is that kind of how it would look in the field?
Yes. And we partook in a lot of this process in the early and mid-'90s on the East Coast, where we were educating farmers who were going to grow the canaf for us, in that some of the varieties we were growing looked much like the hemp. So we were educating the farmers, the sheriffs, the politicians, the business people all on this plant, because they were going, hey, how are you able to grow this marijuana, first of all? So we got to begin the discussion with that. And the farmers were all very impressed at the growth rate of this stuff. It does grow same as industrial hemp. If you're growing it for seeds, the density is further apart. If you're growing it for fibers and per the cultivar, you would space it accordingly. But yes, within your growing season, 70 to 100 days, you will see 12 to 20 foot tall stalks, depending on what you're growing, where you're growing at, what you're growing for. And so the density and the seed cultivar a lot of times will determine the amount of fibers, the amount of core realized in the growing season. And a lot of people in canaf know that the canaf produces more fibers than hemp on average. So we can see more products like insulation, composite panels for vehicles and things like that with the canaf as well. I wouldn't step out there to call it textile grade in any way, but we can make some burlaps and canvases out of it. But that's where hemp comes in. Let hemp be the new fiber of world textiles.
Exactly. So
but
what
yes, for all
countries
intents and purposes, same thing. Sorry.
It looks very similar, right. So what countries are currently the leaders of growing canaf? Do you have an idea?
The leader in canaf is China, not solely because it grows much of it, but because it spearheads the growth of it in other nations like Philippines, Malaysia, even India. But for as far as canaf knowledge and use today, I would say Bangladesh, India, Malaysia are the ones that most use it and are most currently knowledgeable about it.
And are they currently growing it for fiber, like textile application, or what's their main uses?
Yes, most of it is for fiber. Over the years, they've been doing it for the research on all the automobile applications and plastic stuff like that. And actually today, a lot of people are looking for things to do with the canaf core overseas. They haven't caught wind of using these things for plastics and the papers, which they still use, of packaging, or even remediating water in a water treatment facility. You can add the pulverized core and microbial heal waste treatment.
Interesting. Yeah, that's kind of like with industrial hemp, you can create a biochar. I don't know if that's what, it sounds like they're using just the raw fiber itself before doing anything to it. But yeah, the carbon I hear is very, great filter for both air and water. So that's great.
Yes, the biochar is a whole other magical issue.
Yeah, totally. So let's talk a little bit more about, how feasible this is. Let's say someone who's a farmer listening to this show, or a business type person, entrepreneur who wants to start investing in growing canaf. What would you say would be like a 1, 2, 3 step process that they would need to get started on? I mean, obviously they would need some land. what would you say would be kind of like just an initial easy 1, 2, 3 process to get started with growing Canaf with the idea that they're going to be switching over to hemp?
Okay, tough to say which one comes first, but one can look at it from the stance of importation to show viability for the growth of Canaf in an area, or they can look in their area, their state or region, and see industry, and then determine how much volume of the processed raw materials these industries can purchase and reverse engineer the problem. Once you determine how much raw materials can be consumed, you can begin to realize how much acreage you could put in the ground and the costs associated with that. And within establishing not just new business but new agricultural activities, there's a smorgasbord of funding available for these types of projects. So the farmer, the business entity doesn't have to go it alone. So it's hard to know which part to put first, but they're all not very hard. My main messages to people over the years is that it's not as hard as others make it out to be. We simply have to show viability, whether that comes from moving products that already exist or having the ability to establish new crops and product production in your area.
Right. So really finding out what are the needs, what are the demands, and scaling up for the demands, essentially.
Sure, because if I can give maybe a for instance or two. So on the high volume production and buyers of the raw material side, you'll have one producer will blow through 1,000 tons a day of raw materials. Well, that's where it can fit in. And on the other end, one who uses fibers to create products in the U.S. maybe goes through 1 ton of fibers a day. And these are companies which, more times than not, can still input a material like Canaf. So if we can just get them, that fiber producer, 10 tons a day, or that core user 100 tons a day, we're giving them a value-added product, not switching them over to 100% Canaf or hemp products, but we're also showing the viability of why we need more of that in the area.
Got it. Wow. Well, this show went by so quick. We only have about 2 minutes left. Can you share with our audience how they can get in touch with you? What's the best way if they want to, consult with you or use your services and get in touch with you?
Great, thank you. I'm always available by phone at 213-572-7351 because conversation is the best way forward. And I'm not here for the money. I'm here for the people. And also you can reach me at hemp and the mayor of your town at gmail.com. And I'm all over the web.
Perfect. Yeah, you are. I see you jumping into all these different forums and groups and commenting and sharing your wisdom. And I really appreciate the connection. Do you have any final thoughts or last words that you'd like to share with our audience in the last 60 seconds?
Well, thank you. If Americans just bought more hemp, we would see a hemp nation. $640 million a year in hemp sales in America is not even a drop in a bucket. Let's see 4 or 5 times more than that in hemp sales in the United States. Eat hemp, wear hemp, and get others to do the same. That's the only way we will see industrial hemp in the United States.
Amen. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to today's show. This is your Hemptrepreneurial host, Tyler Hemp with Hemp Aware Radio. Adam, thank you again for your wisdom and for sharing this insightful knowledge about Canaf. Hopefully some folks take heed to this and start putting it to work as soon as possible so we can switch over to hemp and empower the planet together.
Yes, put tools to work. Thank you, Tyler.
All right. Have a great day, everyone. Peace out.